Ooh, welcome everybody to WagerTalk Today. I'm Lawrence Presman. This guy, that's me, co-founder of WagerTalk Media. You're watching the best daily sports betting show on the planet, and we're going to tell you exactly how to bet both NFL games. We're going to do a deep dive into these NFL games on Sunday. Washington at Philadelphia, Buffalo at Kansas City. Marco's going to give us his thoughts on both of those games. So will Gianni and I. Three-way, no lube required. And Marco will talk Michigan at Purdue. Marco D'Angelo, Andy Lang, Dave Mason, and Gianni the Greek. The show starts right now. How are you, bro? That's what we're going to call this show, Marco. No lube required.
Prez, you just amaze me. How you doing today, sir?
I'm doing wonderful, Marco, and I appreciate you asking me, brother. I won my NHL play again last night. Had the Rangers on the money line, easy play. Now on a 21-5 run. We usually call those a Marco, which is how good you are, bro. And so, yeah, I'm in the middle of a Marco. So, yeah, I'm a very happy guy, dude. Who doesn't want a Marco in their life?
Absolutely. That's what I tell my wife all the time.
Yeah, no lube required. I mean, what Michigan at Purdue? Purdue here, right, Marco. Brett. They're minus 4.5. Let's get into some betting information. What do you got for us on this game? You walked into that, Purdue Marco.
I know I did. Fortunately, she doesn't listen. So Purdue's a team, Prez, I believe is getting better as the season progresses. And the reason for that is this is a team, it was a rebuilding season for them. We know the success they had last year, and they've been tinkering with different starting lineups. They've only had 3 players start all 20 games this year. They've had 7 different players fill in the other 2 positions in the starting lineup this year, and none of them have started more than 8 games of the other players. But now they're starting to find the rhythm, and I think that's going to be a plus for this team as we go through the rest of conference play and we head into March Madness. Now, Michigan's won 13 of their last 16 games coming into this one, and the 3 losses have been by 2, 1, and 3 points. So the knee-jerk reaction here is to grab Michigan plus the 4.5, but I'm not going to do it. And especially you look at Purdue's last game, they returned home as a 10-point favorite against Ohio State and lost outright 73-70. I think everybody's going to want to run to the window and bet Michigan. I'm dismissing that loss by Purdue, and here's why. It was the perfect sandwich spot against Purdue. They were returning home after going out to Oregon and winning on the road in Oregon. And you know the success Oregon has had in college basketball over the last several years, and that was the first trip to Oregon in conference play. As you know, Oregon moving to the Big Ten this year. I think they came home off of that big win with this game on deck, a top 25 showdown against Michigan on a Friday night in front of national TV cameras. They looked past Ohio State. What's that do? It gets us line value tonight. I am going to go ahead and lay the points with Purdue. They play great defense. 6 of their last 8 opponents, they've held to 64 or fewer points. Yep. Prez, looks too easy to take Michigan plus the points. I'm on Purdue, and I'm laying it tonight.
Yeah, and Marco, I mean, them playing great defensively, this is not a new thing. This is not like this year. I mean, this under their coach, who has a nice head of hair, you wouldn't know about that. They've always been good defensively. I like that take. Marco D'Angelo joining us, co-founder of WagerTalk, one of the best dudes out there. And, brother, before we get into the NFL, I mean, you had a 2024 from the gods. You mentioned that it was one of maybe, if not your best handicapping year across all sports ever in 72 years of handicapping. 2024 has started off really well for you as well, hey?
Actually, 2025, yeah.
25, yeah.
2025.
I'm old, bro. Bugger off.
You are. It's been good, Prez. And you know what? I'm a guy, I'm low volume. If you like a lot of plays, that's, mine might not be your guy. I average 1 to 3 plays a day. I look at the entire card and try to find those, best spots to take my punches at the books. And it's worked out well for us. And last 35 days, we're on a 50-27 run, which has resulted in over $4,600 profit. Playing, $100 a unit. So it's all been good. Those 5% plays, now 20-6. We cashed our 5% play that we talked about last week, and got a little dicey at the end. We had Buffalo against Baltimore last week, but we got the job done, and we could have another 5% this weekend. Still deciding on that before the weekend, and looking forward to continuing this winning streak.
Well, thanks for allowing me to mention that I already have a 5% up in NFL. Goes, believe it or not, on Sunday. And if the clients do buy my 5% NFL play, I'm gonna provide all the props I'm betting. I'm gonna load that package up. It's gonna have a lot of bets inside of that package. Marco, bad news. Your wife actually is in the chat room listening to the show. She's going under the name Mario. And she writes, my favorite, Marco is the GOAT, my favorite handicapper at WagerTalk. So there you go, Marco. Your wife under another name is actually listening to this show. Let's get into NFL football. I mean, listen, normally these are the two best games, year after year, although the Super Bowl has gotten a lot better of late. But there was probably a 20-year stretch where the best football was played this weekend. These lines aren't moving much, Marco. Total in Washington, Philadelphia has basically remained the same, 47.5. We still have that one lonely 6.5 on the board in Philadelphia. The rest of the sixes are hanging out together. How are you attacking this game?
Well, Prez, interesting that you say the total hasn't moved. If you watched last week's Washington-Detroit game, you would have think that this game would have moved all over the place, that people would be running to bet the over because, we had that track meet last week. But what happened in that game, and whether Detroit come in there fat and sassy off of, the regular season finale against Minnesota where they nailed down the number 1 seed in dominating fashion, 31-9, that could be part of it, but the big part of it was the 5 turnovers. And Detroit capitalized on those 5 turnovers. And then what ended up happening is because Detroit was behind so much, you had to keep throwing the football and play at a faster pace, and the game just got out of control. This is a rematch for the third time with these two teams. It's not often that you get two division opponents in the conference championship game, so it's going to be played a little bit differently. They know each other, they know their strengths and their weaknesses, and Philadelphia is smart enough to know the way to beat Washington is keep the offense of Washington off the field and run the football down their throat, which they did in grand fashion in the first meeting. In the second meeting, it was a higher scoring game. Why? Because Washington was the team that had 5 turnovers and fell behind and had to rally and keep throwing the football. I think you're going to see a lower scoring game in this one, but where I really think you're going to see the lower scoring is in the first half. Jaden Daniels, give him his praise. He's done everything asked of him as a rookie, but you still got to remember this is a rookie. He's going to be playing 4th game in a row on the road, playing a team that's already seen him twice this year. One of the advantages that he's had this year is that, he is a rookie, first time facing different teams. This will be the 3rd time around. We always say in baseball, I like rookie pitchers at the beginning of the season because people don't know them. As you see them more, you get more used to how to defend them and how to hit them, so forth. Same's going to happen with Daniels. But Philadelphia has Barkley in the backfield. He is the best runner on the planet at the moment, and Philadelphia will utilize him in this game as they did in the first meeting. And I think you're going to see a conservative game plan from Washington early in this game, not to make a mistake, and that's going to lead to an under in the first half. I like under 23.5 first half wager in this Philadelphia-Washington game.
Yeah, Marco, I'm with you on that. It makes a lot of sense. I'm going to explain my thoughts later on towards the end of the show, but I do agree on the under in the first half on that bet. You did say some things. Listen, I woke up early this morning. I put the VR on. I loaded up the show. I did it on double speed so that I was able to make quick adjustments. But you threw me for a loop, Marco. I did not have that play inside of the VR. Do you have any idea what the hell I'm talking about?
No, I don't. I have no idea what you're talking about.
Dan, do you know what I'm talking about? So Jaden Daniels gets Cliff Kingsbury to load up 60 plays that they plan on calling on Sunday into a VR system that LSU developed in his last year there. He then spends a couple of hours every morning running those VR plays through his Oculus at double speed and seeing how the defense reacts so that he can make adjustments. By the time game time comes, he has run those plays at double speed hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times, which is why he remains so calm. I usually do that before I see your wife. No lube required. You really did not know what I was talking about?
I really did not. When you're saying VR and we're talking here, I'm thinking something. We've got VR
Gianni.
coming up later in the show. Yeah, I mean, come on. I had no idea where you're going with that.
So, guys, who would you rather buy plays from? A guy who pays attention to what's going on or the guy who has had an incredible NFL season? Which one of those two? Marco D'Angelo. Before we get into your next game, we got a great promo, and I'm going to tell everybody I recommend they use it on you. It is $77 for 7-day all access. Now, if you use it on me, you're going to get my college basketball plays. Those aren't going very well. Buy my NHL. Focus on my NHL. Focus on Marco's everything. Marco, tell us why they should use this promo on you.
Oh, guys, we told you how we've been running. We've been running well, and this is a site-wide promotion. $11 a day. It's the best way. You don't miss any plays. You get all of the plays from me. The underneath card, my big plays, and we charge $25 for our daily plays. When we have a 5%, it's $35. Why not $77? You get it. 7 days, that's $11 a day. It makes everything more cost effective. Whether you're a big player or a small player, you can afford to come on board and get the help from one of our professional cappers.
There you go. Marco, real quick, Sean Alvarez in the chat room, great guy. He mentioned the word Dan and Eagles. Please don't do that, Sean. We will lose our producer. He has an addiction to responding to anything related to the Eagles. Okay. Marco,
I'm heading to the chat room right now, Prez.
Do not go
the rest
there.
Of the show's all you.
Do not do it.
It's like a bat signal. I'm like a moth to the flame, Prez.
Okay. He's going to astro glide his way over to the chat room.
Prez, he's going to rat you out. He's going to rat you out to Lori, too, because Sean is a big fan of Lori, and they talk, and he's going to rat you out for what you said on the show today. Just let you know that.
That's okay, fine. Caden just purchased the NHL package from me. Very wise man, that Caden. Thank you, my friend. Marco, Buffalo, Kansas City, go.
Prez, earlier you said about how these conference championship games generally are the better games of the week. And the reason for that is we've always had a matchup in this round where we coin the phrase, this is the Super Bowl. The team that wins this game is the team that's going to win the Super Bowl. And that is what I believe everybody feels is going to happen with this particular matchup. Sorry, Dan, I do believe Philadelphia is going to be in the Super Bowl, but for all intents and purposes, people feel this is the actual Super Bowl. These two teams have slugged it out how many years in a row? And it seems like they play every year Prez, even though they're not in the same division. They meet up in the regular season and in the playoffs, just like we used to have with New England and Indianapolis with Manning and Brady. And what has happened? Well, Buffalo wins the regular season. Kansas City wins the playoffs. That's the narrative. I think that changes this year. Teams are, going into Kansas City, they can be intimidated. Buffalo's not intimidated. Why? Well, first of all, when you go to Kansas City, obviously you got to deal with Mahomes. But you're going into a stadium that is one of the loudest in the league. A lot of teams have trouble communicating their offensive signals in there. And the other thing is usually you have weather conditions when you're playing in January. That doesn't faze Buffalo. They've played Kansas City tough every time they've been there. And weather is never going to faze Buffalo no matter where they play because they play in Buffalo. Is there a stadium that has worse weather on an annual basis than Buffalo? And you've got a quarterback that's not fazed by the big game. Josh Allen has been a machine all year. He's carried the Buffalo Bills on his back. And I think this is the year they knock the door down. Kansas City last week, again, they only had 212 yards of offense against Houston. Granted, Houston has a good defense, but still, 212 yards at home is not going to get the job done against Buffalo. And the coach for Buffalo is not going to make the blunders that DeMeco Ryans made last week. That call in the fourth quarter, Prez, 9 minutes left in the game, just over midfield. It's 4th and 10 in an 8-point game.
Shocking.
A one-possession game. How you go for that and not punt them deep is just absolutely idiotic, in my opinion. Not only did they not make the first down, they get sacked and end up on their side of the field where Kansas City needed just a couple plays to be in field goal range, and that took it from an 8-point game to 11-point game. Game over. Buffalo's not going to make those mistakes. I got Buffalo winning this one and moving on to the Super Bowl. Take Buffalo plus the 2.
Wow, something good is going to happen in Buffalo, according to Marco D'Angelo. Hell must have frozen over. Marco D'Angelo, everyone. Love you, bro. You've promoted. Have a great weekend. Keep winning. And guys, again, use that $77 package on that bold old man right there. Marco, thanks for doing this. Guys, real quick, we got a flash sale. It ends at midnight PST tonight. A lot of you guys have taken advantage of that already. It is my NHL season and playoffs. The NHL goes till mid-June, guys. So that is February, March, April, May, half of June, half of January, 6 months. That was some excellent work on the finger counting there, Prez. 6 months of plays, $299. It will not be cheaper ever again this year. I'm on a 21-5 run. I won my NHL again last night. So please take advantage of that flash sale. I'm going to tell it you guys again later. I have one NHL play coming your way. Before we get into that, I want to address the Washington Capitals. Every day I come on this show, according to you, I play against the Capitals. Oh, there he goes again, playing against the Capitals. For the record, I have not released a play against the Capitals for my clients in months. No, I have not bet against the Capitals. My clients have not bet against the Capitals. I give them out as a free play. I liked Seattle last night. Legitimately liked them. But whoa, look at that handsome man. Anyway, we'll bring him on in a second. Long story short, I gave you 2 dogs yesterday. I won one of them. That's a winning day. All of you guys who want to complain about me picking against the Washington Capitals, I still had a winning day. Okay, Dan, the man, is coming on the show right now. Then Andy Lang, then Dave Mason, then Gianni. Dan, I'm sick of you in the chat room. You want to argue about how great your Philadelphia Eagles are and why to bet them. The microphone is yours.
Prez. To be fair, usually I'm talking with you off mic about how I want to fade the Philadelphia Eagles, and I apologize for the movement of the studio. I'm not in my usual one, Prez, as I just got off a red-eye flight so that I can go to this Philadelphia Eagles game this weekend. So I'm a little fresh off the plane, whatever, but yeah. Here's what I dropped in the chat, Prez, and then let's get back to the show because Andy has great plays, VR has great plays, and we're waiting for Dave Mason. So nobody wants to hear me talk, but I do it in the chat. What I dropped, Prez, and I'd love to get your thoughts on it. Really, there's two parts of a handicap that would put you on the Washington Commanders this week, and that's the quarterback play that has been absolutely incredible from Jaden Daniels. He is the better quarterback in this game, bar none. I don't think we can argue that, right? The other part of the handicap that puts you on him is this is a destiny-like run. You can't account for destiny in a line, in a handicap,
No.
and So that's the two things that would put you on the Commanders. And then the list of what puts you on the Eagles is the 30th ranked rush D that they're going at with Saquon Barkley, the number one defense who now is going to be getting to face the Washington Commanders without their best offensive lineman in Cosme. Jalen Carter, who is an absolute beast, should have a field day in the middle of that defense. And that's what hurt Washington the first meeting where CJ Gardner-Johnson didn't get ejected in. Jalen Hurts didn't get hurt and left the game in. So there's just so many different factors. And this is not just, I'm wearing Eagle stuff, Prez, yes, but this isn't just me being a fan. I'm a better first, and I'll fade this team the same amount that I would bet on them. I was on Wager Talk last call, and I said, do not lay 7 with the Eagles against the Rams. You're taking a horrible number. It's an awful bet. So I'm not just all eagled up. I just think this is a terrific spot for the Eagles. There's trends about divisional teams playing and being favorites against divisional opponents in the playoffs. The Eagles also, if you like revenge angles, they have it in that embarrassing loss that they had against the Commanders. So I'm not trying to look at this through green glasses. Yeah. I'm trying to look at it as an objective sports bettor. And objectively,
I don't believe you.
You see, you don't? You don't believe me? You don't believe me?
Dude, I'm too busy gazing into your eyes. You are such a handsome man,
I didn't have a chance to dye the beard, Prez. Usually I'm not this gray.
You dye your beard?
No, I mean, I should. Don't you?
Okay,
I mean,
so the bottom line
like
is, you're not a homer, but you like your favorite team at -6.
I like them a lot this weekend.
Yes,
I would lay the 6. What I would really bet, Prez, and then we'll get Andy on here, I would tease the Eagles down. I would tease the Bills up. I know it's not a Wong teaser, but I think that's a great play this weekend. So that's all I got for you, Prez. Thanks for letting me come on. I love you, buddy.
Oh, dude. It's just so nice to see your really handsome face. Andy Lang is joining us. Oh, I love Andy. That's a reason he's on every day. Dude, sorry it's going a little late today, but it's a fun show, dude. I love having you on with us. Great sweater. Haven't seen it before. How you doing?
I'm good. My big prediction for the Eagles game is if the Eagles lose, the fans will be upset. But if the Eagles win, the Eagles fans will be even more upset because they didn't win in the fashion that the Eagles really want them to win. Like if they don't win by 47 points, then it's a disappointment, and we'll just hear about how bad Jalen Hurts is that he made it to another Super Bowl. So that's my prediction is Eagles fans will be more upset if they win than if they lose. Dan knows I'm right about that. Dan knows I'm right about that.
Dude, so everyone knows I'm a huge Grateful Dead fan. I have it, tattooed there, Grateful, wherever. Huge Grateful Dead fan. I saw 64 Grateful Dead shows when Jerry was around, and I've seen 17 Dead & Co. shows. I've seen these shows all over North America, all over, especially the Northeast of America. And they have something called Shakedown Street before every show. It's where they put a market up. They sell goods. Only one city has there been a full-on bench-clearing brawl in the middle of a hippie drug kumbaya fest. Guess what city that was?
It's Philly. It's got to be Philly. It's just like whenever there's a crazy news story about like, a meth head's trailer blew up on the and it destroyed a neighborhood. It's like that's Florida.
Yeah.
It's got to be
There you
Florida.
go.
So
Yes. So there you go. It happened 2 years ago. Full on brawl at a dead show. And like with that's like, okay, stop with the lube shit, Prez. Jaden Daniels. You got a prop bet for us on him, Andy. Let's hear it.
yeah, I think he goes over his completions in this one. The number is 21.5. So we're throwing out that Dallas game where he only played a few minutes. We're throwing that out. He's gone over in 8 straight games, and he's averaging 33 pass attempts in those games. And if the game script comes down to if the game is close or if Washington is down, he's their best weapon by far. Their rushing attack is not that great. His accuracy has been really, really good. And against Philly this season, he was 22 of 32, so he barely gets over. And then in the other game, 24 of 39. So he's had success against his team. And again, this is a game that both teams are just going to play until there's zeros on the clock. So it's not like one of those regular season games where you have his completions and the game gets out of control and he doesn't throw a lot in the fourth. I think Philly wins this game. I think Washington might be having to come from behind, but I do love his accuracy. That's why I'm taking his completions as opposed to his attempts, just because he completes the ball at such a high rate. I don't think it's a big time, long completions. I think it's a little bit more dink and dunk. And to be honest, the Washington running game just has not been very impressive. So I think it's Jaden Daniels over his completions.
There we go. Andy Lang joining us, everyone. You can see him Tuesday to Friday on this very show. We've got a darts bet coming your way. Andy, what is it?
Going back to our old friend Luke Littler. Well, I say old friend, guy's still a teenager. Luke Littler and Vandenberg over 6.5 180s. We talked about taking over 180s in Littler games. This is a guy that can almost do this by himself. So this match, the Dutch Darts Masters, these are 1st to 6 legs. So you just got to win 6 games. And the last match that Littler was in that was 1st to 6, they had 12 180s in it. Now, Vandenberg doesn't throw a ton, but again, Littler can go for 4 or 5. You only need Vandenberg to get 1 or 2 in this one. I don't expect a big steamroll from Littler, so I think Vandenberg's going to win some legs. I would expect 9, 10 legs in this one. That should be plenty to get over these 180s.
Guys, if you haven't hit that like button, slap yourself in the head. Okay, PFL. You got a parlay for us. Let's go.
Here we go, Prez. We get to fade a truck driver. I teased this earlier in the week. We're going to take Vadim Nemkov against Tim Johnson, and we're going to take the under 1.5 rounds. Tim Johnson got a last-second fight in PFL last year in the tournament, and he openly said, I'm a truck driver. I'm not ready for this fight, so I'm just going to come swinging. And 2 minutes into the fight, he pulls the upset and knocks the guy out. So he advances to the next round where he absolutely gets murdered. So he gets another match. They put him in Dubai this weekend. They were like, would you like to go to Dubai and lose to Nemkov? And he was like, absolutely. So we're going to take under 1.5 rounds. Nemkov is going to be able to do whatever he wants to Tim Johnson. This fight is not going to last very long. At the weigh-ins, Prez, they asked Tim Johnson how he felt, and he was like, well, it's better here than throwing hogs around in a truck. So this is the guy that's going to be fighting.
I would have preferred you did that in that, Southern Virginian accent if you can.
Well, he's not really Southern Virginia, but let's see. Well, it's a lot better than here than it is throwing around the hogs in the back of the truck. Not bad?
Yeah, dude, that was amazing. Way to go. That deserves some like button hitting. Andy, what do you got to promote?
Well, real quick, that's a little bit juicy, minus 250. So you're using it as a parlay piece. So you can use that as a parlay piece. You can play it on your own, or you can parlay it with Netta over Khan. That's the first fight of the match. Netta's a power puncher. We'll just say he looks like he's on the special vitamins. Hyder Khan's just a boring grappler. Netta should smoke him. You parlay those together, you get plus 125. And I have to congratulate you, Prez. Little bit of inside info on the Australian Open. You called it. I got to give Prez credit. He sent me a text message and was like, the gist of it was, don't be surprised if Djokovic can't make it through. And he made it through one set, and that was it. So I got to give you credit, man. Nice call on the Australian Open.
And Andy, I was riddled. Like, what do I do with that information, right? So, long story short, guys, as you all know, we've spoken about this before. I am deeply connected into tennis. I mean, deeply. My brother is good friends with Sabalenka. My brother is good friends with Novak. They speak regularly. We're friends with like everybody. There's no major. So my brother has a tennis compound up in Muskoka at his cottage, and he lets the Canadian tennis pros play there in the summer. So they train at his place. So we're deeply I had a person in Novak's freaking locker room. I got a text yesterday saying Novak's injured. He's probably not going to play. I texted to Andy. It's like bet against Novak right now, because if he doesn't play, we get our money back. And if he does play, he's going to pull out. I can't tweet that out though, Andy. You are the only person I gave that info to.
No, it was great. It was great. You just watched. You could tell he wasn't 100%. So it was a great call. I'll just promote the 7 days for 77. Why? Well, we have our NFL props pack that is up. We're 6-2 in the NFL playoffs. And we have our PFL props that are up. Prez, I'm telling you, we make more in the PFL than we do in the UFC. And there's limited events in the PFL. The PFL is so gettable and so bettable. We've already got 2 plays up. There will be a third when some of the finishing props come out later today. So just get 7 days for only $11 a day. We're on a nice run in NHL. We're on a nice run in NBA. Cash our only golf play this week on a 3%er on the top Canadian. Taylor Pendrith cashes our top Canadian, Prez. So you'll get golf plays next week. This is the time of year where we shine. When football starts to die off, there's so many sports out there, that are in our wheelhouse. There's darts plays, there's golf plays, there's PFL plays. Yep. That's where we thrive. That's where we do our damage. The plays that are off the beaten path. So take advantage of it. Doesn't get much better than $11 a day. Take it easy, guys. Good luck on your plays.
There you go. I hope Gianni's listening, because I was like, should I send Gianni this message about Joker? And then I'm like, he's going to send it to his whole freaking syndicate. Next thing you know, I'm going to get in trouble for insider trading. We got still a lot left to go. Dave Mason will be joining us in a second, and Gianni after that. Gianni and I are going to go very deep into the NFL games today. I got a lot of bets for you guys on the NFL games, so stay with us all the way to the end. I got a quick NHL play to give out. Yesterday, I gave you guys Boston and Seattle. Both were dogs. One of them cashed. We made money. Let's do it again. This time, I'm going to look at Vegas playing Dallas. Before I get into that, I got to let you guys know real quick. I have a big 4% play up in NHL tonight. These 4% plays are super, super rare. I'm on a 21-5 NHL run. It doesn't get much better than that. We have a flash sale going. You can get my NHL season and playoffs for only $299 over at WagerTalk.com. That expires tonight, midnight PST. Okay, Dallas, Vegas, let's go, Prez. Hurry up. I like the under in this game, and I like it a lot. You can get 6s out there or 5.5s. I prefer you be on a 6 with a little bit of juice. Bottom line here is only 1 in the last 7 head-to-head matchups have hit 6. 1 in the last 7 have hit 6. None have gone over 6, and 6 of 7 have gone under 6. These teams, 3-2, 2-1, 2-0, 3-2, 4-2, 3-2, 3-1, and on and on and on. They always play to the under. And although Vegas has put up 4 goals in their last 2 games, this is a team that can regularly put up 0, 1, or 2 goals. Dallas the same. Plus, Dallas's defense is exceptional. Look to take Dallas and Vegas under the total. Dave Mason joining us from BetOnline. Dave, what a privilege to have you on the show. It's championship weekend. Let's get straight into it. What is going on over at BetOnline in regards to these 2 NFL games?
Hey, Prez, thanks for having me. I heard you guys blasting Philly, man. You had me on hold there. I was chomping at.
Where is Dave Mason still with us? There you are, Dave. You're a bit in and out.
All
Dave,
right,
you're a
you
bit
hear me now?
Yeah, brother. You can listen. Anytime you want to say Dan Alexander is wrong, the mic is yours twice as long.
Yeah, Sunday. Can't wait. Great early money coming in. Pretty split. Not a lot of big decisions yet. We got the Commanders getting 6 at the Eagles, of course, over under 47.5. Open 6.5 and 47.5. So there's a little bouncing around, but we're back to where we started. The money is 50-50 on the spread, 55% on the under. As far as bet count, 61% is on Washington, 72% is on the over. Some sharp, a little bit of Philly, -5.5 and -5. Some on Washington +6.5. When we went there, got hit. And under 48. Game 2, Bills at Chiefs. Chiefs currently favored by 1.5. Total 48.5. And we're back to where we opened too. That they opened the same 1.5 and 48.5. Money 55% is on the Bills, 71% is on the over. As far as tickets are concerned, 58% is on Buffalo, 61% is on the over. Two-way sharp on the spread, some sharp on over 47.5. As far as me, even though I'm a Philly guy, I kind of like Commanders +6, and I like the Chiefs -1.5.
Dave Mason joining us. That was amazing, Dave. I have a quick question. Do you have the Super Bowl lines already up?
Yeah, we do. Washington getting 4.5 versus the Bills, total 53. Washington +5 versus KC. That's 49.5, I believe. Eagles and Bills currently a pick 'em. Bills open a little bit of a favorite. That's 48.5. Then KC laying 1.5 versus the Birds, 46.5.
And you guys can get down, your clients can get down on that right now, right?
Oh, absolutely. We opened them a couple days ago. So, yeah, people are betting them.
Excellent. Any teasers, the biggest teasers you got going?
Biggest teaser. I was surprised by this. I thought it would be, well, let me see here real quick. Those 6-point spreads, it's just 99 times out of 100, people are teasing down. But in this case, they're teasing up. I mean, Commanders, they're getting about a lot of volume, and they're getting about 63% of the money's on Commanders getting teased up. On the other game, let's see here. Let me click on that. Okay, so the biggest teaser side is the Bills. Yeah, that's getting the most volume. People teasing that up and about,
Dave Mason, I think we just lost him. There you are. Dave, you're back. A little bit of phone issues, Dave.
Horrible.
No, it's fine. Dude, I'm so thrilled that you come on and do this. I mean, you just handed us some killer information. Are you seeing or hearing anything on NBA, college, or NHL tonight that we need to know about?
NBA.
Dave Mason, guys. Dave, we can't hear you today. We're having a little bit of issues. I'm going to promote on your behalf, and we'll see you next Friday. Guys, check out betonline.ag. I have an account there, and I'm not lying to you guys. I have an account there. I told you last week it started with BO9. That's literally the first 3 letters of my account number. At BetOnline is a phenomenal sports book, and we're so lucky to have guys like Art to Caesar from the Westgate and Dave Mason from BetOnline take time out of their day to give us this information. We're not against the sports books. We need those sports books. That's how we make bets. So I'm really appreciative that they come on and do this. Gianni the Greek joining us. Gianni, did you hear my Novak story?
No, and I caught the end of it when you said, was he on or not? And believe it or not, I swear to you on everything sacred to me. Yesterday, I rehooked up with my strongest connect from like early 2010 to 2015. But then this dude moved to the Netherlands, and then he's in Greece, and he moves all over the world. And he connects with like a South African group that just does NBA second halves, a Chinese group that just does soccer, a Russian group that just does tennis. And he's like the middle guy for all these different groups. And I just hooked up with him again yesterday. So I'm trying to get some accounts together for him because you got to be able to get him down 5 dimes to get the action. So I'm trying to pull some accounts together to get him to him so I can start receiving his information again. So I would have sent that to him had I heard it. I got to say that. Just because he's that kind of connect, I would have done it. So probably better I didn't.
Yeah, and I was literally like, should I tell Gianni? And I'm like, I don't want to get in shit here. Like I got people literally in the dressing rooms of these tennis players. I can't release the info. I can't tweet it out, but I can bet it. I can bet it, so.
That's like me at the UFC with the Contender Series. And
right.
And I'm not they hide out. Seriously, they really hide things. They're very careful because they know I'm a gambler. They've asked me to step out of the room multiple times over the years. But every once in a while, there's that nugget of information that we're able to flip into finding a plus EV bet. So, yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
One of our best listeners, Russell Deck, Ludwig Aberg to win the Farmers, plus 175. Andy Lang likes that bet as well, guys. So a little bit more credibility there. Gianni, let's go through the NFL and Washington playing Philadelphia. So I'm going to start right here, and I'm going to say this. Every year, not every, but many, many years, we see a team of destiny. A team that we're surprised. Oh, my God. Is Houston really going to make a run last year? Almost every year, this team of destiny gets annihilated at some point. I don't believe in teams of destiny. That's a load of shit. And I think this might be that game, Gianni. The bottom line is Philadelphia is a veteran football team. They were in the Super Bowl literally 2 freaking years ago. This is a team that barely loses games. Nick Sirianni has the best win-loss percentage out of any NFL coach in history. They know what they're doing. Washington is the talk of the town. The talk of the town is going to get annihilated. With that said, I really like Philly in the first half more than I do on the whole game. But Philly is the bet for me here, Gianni. What's your thoughts?
Listen, I'm pissed that I didn't have Philadelphia in future bet because you nailed it. They were coming off winning the Super Bowl. Getting to the Super Bowl, forgive me. And on paper, going into last year, they were still arguably the best team in the NFC. And throughout the season, they showed that until about, remember, game 10, game 11, the wheels fell off and they lost a bunch of straight games in a row. But it was still that same intact team, if not better, coming into this season. And I overlooked it, and I shouldn't have. That was a ton of value on Philly before the season starts. So now getting back to this game, I agree with you. Listen, I saw George Mason being talked about cutting down the nets in the national championship game, and VCU and all those teams that made good runs through the Sweet 16, the Elite Eight. But when they get to the Final Four and they're playing the cream of the crop, they get sent back home, slapped in the face real quick because they're just better horses out there. Faster horses out there. That's just the bottom line. If you could play basketball anywhere, you're going to Kansas. You're going to North Carolina. You're not going to George Mason. That's just the bottom line. But in one game, randomness, any team could get hot, get lucky, and win some football games, some basketball games. We've seen that with Washington, and they've gotten extremely lucky. They've created a lot of their luck, but plus 5 in turnovers against Washington, against Detroit, that's a little bit extra lucky there, especially on the road. I agree with you 100%. I think Philadelphia is the right side. I think Philadelphia should be able to handle this team again. I think the line was even short where it came out. The move reflects it. The only thing that worries me is they're not 100%. Philadelphia is not as healthy as I'd want them to be this late in the season. With injuries on the defensive side of the ball as well. That's what worries me a little bit. Otherwise, I like Philadelphia, and I really like the under. Here's why. 4 of the last 5 in the series, they've gone over. The average, though, total was 44.8. We were now looking at a 48, 47.5. So a 3-point adjustment in the playoffs where you're supposed to play even tighter. But that's because 3 of the last 5 for both these teams went over. So we got some recency bias involved. I think Washington needs to play this game, not to fall way behind. Last thing you want to do, first-year head coach, rookie quarterback, NFC Championship game in Philadelphia, one of the most hostile environments. You don't want to fall behind and get those fans involved. You want them in that cold, being bored, and just hoping Philly gets to the Super Bowl. So I think they're not going to come out there and go nuts. They want to be in a position to win the game with 5 minutes left. I like Philadelphia. I like the under. I think they send Washington home.
Yep.
Great season for Washington and Jaden Daniels. Give them all the accolades. They deserve it. But I think the best teams should be playing in the Super Bowl, and Philly's outlasted everybody. I think they do continue that on Sunday.
Yeah, and Gianni, I'm glad you mentioned the under because I was going to say that after you. I like the under a lot here, too. I like the under just as much as I like Philadelphia. I mean, the bottom line is we've got Washington with a really porous run defense, and I think Philadelphia is coming to this game knowing this game is theirs to win. And they're either going to win this game or they're going to lose this game. Washington doesn't even factor in here. Right, like
I know exactly what you're saying. They're just a participant in it. They're not the one who's going to determine the outcome. Philadelphia's going to determine the outcome of this game. I'm 100% in agreement with you, brother.
Yeah, I would be surprised if Hurts gets 20 completions. I think they're going to run this ball down Washington's throat. Gianni.
Saquon's run against much better defenses than this over his last 5, 6, 7 games. I agree with you there too. Sorry.
From a run defense, every defense is much better than this. Gianni the Greek joining us. So both of us like Philly and both of us like the under in that game. And I do like Jalen Hurts over 29 rush yards. I've been telling you guys that all week long. Andy gave it out on Tuesday. I think it's the best prop bet of the weekend. Gianni, let's go to Kansas City and Buffalo. And I'm going to tell you, I'll be quick here. I like Buffalo in the first half here, Gianni. When a team is, firstly, Kansas City starts off slow every game.
Yep.
Every single game. I don't understand. If they could get a coach there's coaches that just game plan those first drives so spectacularly. Andy Reid seems to not be that coach. It's okay. He's one of the best coaches of all time, but they're not all perfect. KC comes out flat every game, and this Buffalo team is starving. And you know what happens when you are starving? You eat really, really fast. You get the itis. And then you're bloated, you don't feel good, and you have a letdown. That's my take on this game.
Here's where I stand as far as Kansas City and Buffalo. Buffalo, the bottom line is, I think this is a team that's gotten very lucky this year. That doesn't mean the luck's going to run out, but hear me out. They're number 1 in turnovers, and it's not even close. They are plus 24 in turnover ratio. But more importantly, only plus 10 of those come on the interception side. 14 of those pluses come on fumbles. Dude, you're not supposed to cover that many fumbles. Once it hits the ground, it's 50-50.
Yeah.
They've only lost 2 themselves. So I think that reflects this team has gotten lucky. More importantly, they can't stretch the field. They need to have sustainable drives. And you're going up one of the toughest defenses in all the NFL. In fact, only 3 teams have allowed less points per game than the Kansas City Chiefs. They are 4th in rushing yards per rush. They are 8th in passing per pass. Like, they are on both sides of that. The pass game, the rush game, they have that elite defense. But when I look at the Buffalo side, that's where they're weak, man. Against the pass, bottom half of the NFL. Against the run, they're tied for 17th in the NFL. Kansas City's going to have some long drives is what I think is going to happen.
They always do.
They're not winning by margin this year, but they don't have to. They just have to win this football game. And I'm that guy who called Patrick Mahomes as phony as a $3 bill after his 2nd or 3rd year at Kansas City. I did not believe in Patrick Mahomes. I obviously, history proves me incorrect. History makes me look very foolish for believing it back then. I'm willing to check my ego at the door and believe that somehow, some way, this guy finds a way to win when it matters most. This team wins at home. They have one of the strongest home field advantages there are, especially in the playoffs, and it's very hard to fade them, man. I understand the teaser on Buffalo. I respect that. You get the Wonga as well. I just got a feeling Kansas City may make this game make Buffalo look a little weaker than we think. And I like this one under as well. Here's why. 3rd game in 12 months between these 2 teams. The first 2 both went over. They scored 51 points, but the average total was 46.5. So it's a slight adjustment up based on that 51 scored. But those were two very different games compared to what's going to happen this Sunday, as well as different teams on the Kansas City side of the ball. So I think we're getting even a little value on this total under as well. So you know my sides, my leans there. You know what I'm more or less betting. I like the under in both games. I like the Philadelphia side. I worry about, maybe some backdoor nonsense. And I think Kansas City will also advance. Quickly, though, there are sharp guys on Buffalo. I would have liked to see Kansas City sitting at 2.5 now and even 3 come Sunday. But seeing some of the sharps that are on the Buffalo side, that will not happen. So when it's this late in the season, here's what I tell you. The best thing, one of the guys that I work with that's really sharp, he works with everybody. I text him before I fired my 5% play to say, hey, have you seen this in any of your accounts? And he said, bro, I just actually bet that myself. And the next sentence was, but lines in the NFL are so tight right now. Do we really have an edge? That's exactly what he texted me back. You know what I mean? Like by now they're really, really tight. But again, I know I feel comfortable in my bet. I'm excited for Sunday. And whether you agree, disagree, I hope you do some damage as well.
Guys, real quick, if you do plan on betting Kansas City, Ralph Michaels did a deep dive a couple of years ago. -1.5 at -110 versus money line -125. The money line -125 is about 2.6% better over 100 or so plays. So you're always better off betting the money line at -125. I just wanted to remind everybody of that. Gianni, we have 1 minute, bro. What is going on in hoops tonight, and what do you got to promote?
Real slow night in hoops so far. Only St. Joe's at +6.5. St. Joe's at +6.5. But they're also gearing up for Saturday college basketball coming off. I'm pretty hot right now. I passed yesterday. Again, staying very selective. The steam room will be Sunday, talking about the NFC AFC Championship games. After that, we're going to move it to Saturdays, I believe, because it's busier. Also going to have PFL. Digging into the MMA, that'll be released later on tonight. Head on over to my page. I'll have a free pickup for you that's premium throughout the day. So best of luck to everybody. Do some damage.
There we go. What a show. This was a really fun hour. I was on Puck Time today. If you want to check me out, that's already up at our Wager Talk channel, Wager Talk TV on YouTube. Huge shout out to Marco D'Angelo, Andy Lang, Dan Alexander with a rare appearance, Dave Mason, and Gianni the Greek. I'm Lawrence Presman. It's been a pleasure. Let's kick ass, enjoy the games, have fun this weekend, and we'll see you guys on Monday.